Hello YouTube, this is Masha. Masha, can you say hi to YouTube? Masha's a little shy. We're going to work a little bit on her stage presence. She's like, no, Mom, did not consent to this. I'm here because I wanted to tell a story about how I almost drowned because it freaked out and how I managed to save that situation and get myself out of this precarious moment, which could have been really, really bad if it went the wrong way. So a few years ago, I got certified to scuba dive, did my open water test in it's a lake. I'm not allowed to call it a pond, it was a lake, but it was still fairly shallow as far as diving goes. It only goes down to about 28-30 feet. Well, my first dive, which I do not recommend for first-time divers, my first dive was in this mine that had flooded in Missouri. Absolutely stunning and crazy, and because it is groundwater that has flooded, you could see for just so many feet, unlike I'm in Oklahoma, unlike here in Oklahoma where your visibility, if you're in the water, is lucky if you can see your hand. This was crystal clear. And when you got down there, oh my goodness, it was so cold. Like it froze you to your core diving these mines. It was about 60 degrees, even with the extra wetsuit and the hood on. You were absolutely frozen to the core. Just when you hit the water, it took the breath out of you. But the absolute beauty of it made it worth it to go down there, go through all of these caverns. You could still see the tools that they had. Sometimes there'd be tools sticking out of the wall. There was a locomotive down at the very bottom. I didn't go that far. It was a little too much for me, but there was so much going on down there. But what made it particularly dangerous was there were points where there was zero ascent, meaning that if I had an issue, I couldn't just swim straight up and get back to the surface where there was air. I had to continue to either swim forward or go back because above me was just a ceiling of rock. A literal ceiling of rock. You are looking forward and there's water, you look down, there's water, you look up, and instead of you seeing sunlight or whatever else you would expect when you're swimming, there's a rock ceiling. So I'd done a couple dives. I was nervous, but I was okay. And then on this third dive, I felt really uncomfortable for some reason. So I was super cold. It's 60-degree water, of course you're cold. I was so cold, but I was like, I'm gonna power through it anyway. So I'm going with this group, of course we're not alone, going with this group, swimming through this part of the cavern that we haven't been through before. And there's a very, very long stretch of zero ascent. So I'm focusing on not getting my glasses or my goggles fogged up. I'm focusing on just staying level and not bouncing up and down and not breathing too heavily. But the absolute feeling of terror has gripped me and I cannot figure out why. I've had 2 other swims that have gone just fabulously, but this one I was just terrified. So I'm swimming, I'm panicking, I'm to the point of where I'm so close. I am like seconds from going, hey, I'm not okay, and communicating that to the dive master who was leading the tour. Of course, the dive master would be like, what's up? You were fine, but they would have come up and helped me. But I didn't want to do that, of course, because that would have basically been the end of the dive for me, and it wouldn't have been a good time. So I'm desperately figuring out in my head, okay, why am I feeling like this? Is my body physically uncomfortable? Well, I'm cold, but that shouldn't be why I'm anxious. Okay, is my oxygen pulling okay through my regulator? Okay, I'm able to pull oxygen pretty easily, so that shouldn't be my problem. My mask is fitting okay. Like, everything feels fine. I'm doing a physical check of myself. Like, what's wrong? Why am I about to just go into absolute panic right now? I had the song No Air, that Chris Brown song, tell me how you're supposed to breathe with no air. That was the song stuck in my head. All of the earworms of all of the songs that could have been stuck in my head, it was the song No Air running in the background of my head continually. Of course I was feeling not okay with what was happening. I don't have a way to go up. I'm literally underwater, I'm cold, and Chris Brown is singing about no air in the song stuck in my head. Well, what did I do? First off, knowing this, it made me feel a little bit better, but I'm still feeling anxious. So instead, I focused on another equally catchy song, which I don't remember what it was at the time, but I definitely focused on a really catchy song, whatever favorite tune was. And it wasn't instantaneous, but as I just focused on the song and just focused on pumping my fins, my feet, and getting through this stretch, I calmed myself down and I was able to complete the dive. And I did not think I was going to be able to complete it because that was some of the most scared I've ever been in my entire life. But I overcame it because I was able to go through what was happening inside of my mind. And like I've said in previous videos, your physiology affects your mind and your mind can affect your physiology as well. And just that one change, I was able to salvage it instead of having to flag a dive master down and stop what I was doing. So I felt so much more successful for doing that. And I hope that trick helps you as well. That sometimes that little voice inside your head that everyone talks about, sometimes it's not a voice,